Hello. So we're doing a Oath of the Gatewatch Swiss pre-release draft on Magic Online. So we've opened this pack and it is nothing special. So the two cards that come to mind here is Nissa's Judgment, which is probably the strongest card in the pack by a long shot. Maybe this is a close second, but I think Sweep Away is actually a stronger control card than this. And when you play blue, this was sort of like an aggressive blue card, and most blue decks aren't. We could try for the Surge deck with this guy here, but I don't think that's necessary. So we're going to take the strongest card in the pack, even though it's green, but that by no means will that be a determinant of the rest of our picks. Literally nothing else would be happening. We might get... there's nothing else here that excites me. This is okay, but not a first pick. Alright, so the first thing that jumps to mind is this. This is one of the strongest green uncommons, and it certainly kind of pushes us towards green. And we can make up the shortfall if we pick up a lot of power in green here, and we might just have another color in the third pack to bring up the power level. Usually blue works really well with green. Otherwise, this is okay, but only if you have something that would encourage you to use it. I find the Gravity Negator also quite strong, but I don't think it is as good as the Seed Guardian, and since it goes well with the green pick we already have, we're not going to move into another colour. I'm not sure what we're going to pair green with just yet, but blue tends to be my favourite because it's so strong, but we'll see what we get. Okay, so the safest pick would be the Pup here, just a good aggressive green card. Though Relentless Hunter is also strong, but I'm not quite ready to go into red just yet. Slaughter Drone is also pretty decent. It's an okay 2-drop, but it's probably comparable to Bailoff Pup. Yeah, so though I do like Containment Membrane in a control deck because you can put down a threat and deal with a threat in the same turn. At this stage I think we'll just stay on target with what looks like to be a curve-based green deck. But we'll see what comes from here. Okay. So I'm considering moving into another color now, since this is okay, but it's middle of the range. It does a lot for the casting cost, but we can pick up 5 drops that do something similar, or even 6 drops or 7 drops in the last pack. As a speculative pick, I'll take this. But by no means are we going to be in blue, but I prefer to head towards blue if I had the option, as I mentioned earlier. This is okay in a bearish 2-drop, 3-drop kind of aggro deck, but we're going to be more of a 3-drop, 4-drop aggro deck. Okay, so I mentioned I'm a big fan of the Gravity Negator, and I think it actually can bring the shortfalls of the green deck, whereas you don't have much evasion and a lot of dumb dudes. This is a decent combat trick, but I'm not going to pick it over playable cards just yet. Okay-ish in a control deck, but we're not going to be control, so yeah, we'll just take this. Once again, sort of speculatively seeing if blue's open. Okay, so blue looks a little bit open coming from this direction, so I'll take Sweep Away, which plays a lot better than it looks. And you can usually get a 1-for-1 versus tricks, but on the blocking as well, it's so good to out-tempo your opponents with that. The move to blue seems to be paying off. Cyclone Sire is just solid. 3-4 for that mana that can block as a flyer, and you just get a little bit of upside if you somehow have to trade off. Alright, so we're going to assume we're moving into blue now. Nothing too exciting here. I'll just cut this just to cut green a little bit. But I probably don't see myself playing it unless I'm really short on playables. So I mentioned this was only good in a aggressive deck, which blue tends not to be. However, in a blue-green deck, it's sort of a somewhat aggressive deck as well. So I think it could be playable. Plus, I haven't actually played with this card, so I'm not really sure if I'm actually right to say that it is that. But we'll give it a go. It certainly seems to have the power on the upside. Normally you could say taking this, but I'm not going to ever play two of those. There may be something in white that we want to splash, and this opens that. But yeah, that's just a long shot, is if we're going to actually splash white, but it's a free pick, right? So at this stage I'm very comfortable in playing blue. That's a given, but I'm not actually sold that I'm actually going to be into green. If we open a really strong coloured card in another colour, that would push us out of green and would happily leave green. Mainly because the third pack tends to be quite weak in green. I've never played with this card yet. It could be useful in a grindy deck. Grindy, similar mid-range versus mid-range. I will take Ancient Crab, but I'm probably not going to play it, but it might be okay as a sideboard card if I find a really aggressive red-white deck. Once again, more of a anti-aggro or super anti-control kind of card, but I don't think that's main deckable. It's a late one of those. It's actually quite a useful card. But we're not in any ally theme at all. But let's see what second pack opens up for us. We're surely to be blue. We'd like to move out of green unless there's something really strong to keep us in green. So there's nothing really strong in green here. This is okay. Doesn't do enough for 7 mana, I don't think. Like a 5/4 that can be chump blocked is... Reckless Bushwhacker in an aggro deck is really, really strong. So the two things that come to my attention being in the cards we are is Containment Membrane. Since those were tabling, I don't think we need to pick them highly. But Hedron Crawler, good in a deck that wants to ramp out a little bit of big stuff. So we're going to take that. And looking to get back, maybe get this back, because it's not that good, but we might play it. Might get this, we'll play this. There's really no super strong cards in this pack at all for a second pick, which is disappointing. This is okay, but I don't think with this and this, we're going to be playing 3 of those sort of really expensive +1/+1 counters. But a Crawler is good here. It allows us to be more late game mid-range to rampy in pack 3. This is just okay. I think this is much more stronger than this essential grey ogre. Yeah, we'll take the crawler and be happy, I imagine. Alright, so Seed Guardian is just good. It's a good, strong green card, and it's sort of bumped up the power of green a little bit. Nothing else is all that great for us. Vines is okay, but I don't think we're that aggressive that it really matters. This is just a solid card. Ah, there's the payoff. Okay, so this does stuff. It's sort of like a negate versus removal. It usually gets a creature, well costed to 4 for 3 mana. And there's plenty of these tabling, so we might use, I wouldn't want to have more than 2, but I think we've solidified our color combination now. We've been taking the strongest cards of those 2 colors. So we don't have that much access to colorless mana, except through the crawlers. But this, if we can pick up a waste or maybe something like this, or the other ones that come into play tapped and give you a little bit of mana, we'll play those. But except for this card, nothing else is particularly strong except for this, which is a sure sign that black is open in this direction, but it certainly wasn't open in the other direction. But just a good 2-drop. So we were saying that I was looking for something like this, but Void Grafter, it's a thing. Just feels it's filling our curve perfectly, and it shows you this color combination is wide open on this table now. We're in the right colors, 100% sure. Which is a good feeling, because if there's any good green rares in pack 3, we'll be getting them. So let's see. I'm a big fan of Stalking Drone. It is just an okay dewdrop, but it can actually block quite well in the mid game. We have a little bit of access to colorless mana. Almost without exception, we'll take any colorless producing land now. Preferably not a waste, but any of the non-wastes. And that would put me in a situation where I'm quite have enough colorless mana producers, but you usually don't get them this late. See, I'm not a biggest fan of Harvest Troll. So I'll put it in my sideboard and I'll think about playing it depends on what we get in pack 3. I said I'd play another Containment Membrane if I got a second one, so we're going to do that. So we have access to possible colorless mana in pack 3 through Blighted Lands, so that we'll probably put the blue and the green ones up a little bit higher in our pick order. I'll just take this to cut it. Probably won't play it unless for some reason it performs super well in our play and we would really like a second one, but I don't think so. I'm happy to have one of these. Very efficient removal card. Also happy to have a negate for the sideboard. Why not? We'll take that. I don't think we'll play it though. It's a great start. We've got some good early drops to ramp us up into our 4-drop, 5-drops. Our curve is perfectly aligned at the moment, so we can easily afford to have a higher drop in the 6 and the 7s. These are all mediocre compared to the crawler, which is probably better in most cases than those two. I think the attendant seems to be solid pick here. It's not the best first pick I could have imagined, but we'll see what else we can get. Ooh, shiny, it's a rare. I mentioned that we could use some 6-drops, and that seems like a good 6-drop. 5/5 trample, that for the most part is definitely going to become a 6/6 at least on the next turn. Happy to pick that up. Relatively weak pack, but blue's sort of being cut. Oh, maybe not so much, because there's 2 cores that have come back to back. But we don't expect to get anything great from green. We'll just take the coils. We don't have that much flyers, so it's not that solid, but it's still the best pick in the pack here. Wow, this is quite interesting. So the Warcaller is just a mini overrun when you play it, so it seems to do a lot of work. However, I'm a big fan of currents. It's just, for 5 mana you get a 3/3 with haste that also does a Man of War type effect. Can be really strong. This one's a tricky pick. We're not particularly ally heavy to get chained amounts out of that, but just 1 activation can usually be enough. But I think currents is just does a good job, so. Oh, that's a nice card, but we're nowhere near casting that. I just take another 6-drop, which is probably going to fill the 6-drop amounts up. It's solid, it does some work. Take another coils. I don't think we need a 3rd coils. This can be quite a decent card versus some decks. I hear it's a lot better than it plays a lot better than you think, but I think it's still in the sideboard category. Well, I'm definitely going to pick Unnatural Aggression here, but it's whether or not it's actually worth playing main deck versus maybe something like this, because we've only got a little bit of evasion here. Yeah, I'll think about that one at the moment. I'm not going to go all in on this one. take Anticipate. Don't think I'm playing it. I'm going to take this on, but once again, I'm not sure I'm going to play it. So we saw no blighted lands, which was quite interesting. Well, hate this card. So with 2 containment membranes and 2 tethering coils, I think I should replace one of the coils with something more aggressive. Though we may sideboard it in if we come across a more flying aggressive deck. I think containment membrane is a little bit better, because we're going to be bashing and hopefully our creatures are bigger than our opponents, and if not, we can bounce them or disrupt them that way rather than giving them a free turn to block. So what would I replace with that? So the Harvest Troll seems to be the most likely one. Participate? Not really. Alright, I think the answer is unnatural aggression. So, what would we be playing it on though? See, our creatures don't get too much bigger than the opponents until 3 or 4, so it sort of falls a bit flat. I think I might just do a Harvest Troll, see how that plays. I think it might play better than I think, but I've only seen it played a couple of times, and I'm not sure if it's actually any good. It seems to be good. Even if I eat something like this late game, that'd be quite fine, or a land. Since we capped out at the most 6 mana, we're not trying to ramp anything up higher than 6. We don't have to worry about losing our 7th land. This card seems somewhat mediocre, but what would I replace with it? It's just, I think it just feels the curve. Yeah, I think this could be quite fine. So possible sideboard cards, negate, another coils, dampening pulse. Against the green-white deck, or a red-white deck that's sort of aggressively, I guess even red-black, full of 2-drops, we'll probably consider bringing this in, because our 3-drops would deal with them quite well, and it's instant, so we can get some value on the defense. Might even consider bringing that in against the aggressive deck with 2-1s, or 3-1s even. Yeah, alright, let's see what Land City says. So, it's about even as to what color we want early on, but I think it would favour us to have slightly more green, just because of the Seed Guardian and how this interacts with forests. Otherwise, I think I'm happy, and I'll see you in round 1.